right, welcome back to another episode of Lions Avenue. We are roughly less than 48 hours away from Kansas City, Baltimore. And what are we, 4 days, 5 days away from the official kickoff of the NFL season, Sunday wise, with all a full slate of games. Of course, headline for us as Lions fans, our Sunday night matchup with the LA Rams. So before we jump into Rams week, even though we midway through the week already, everybody was off Monday.
Yeah.
We're gonna jump into our division because you can't handle any business outside your division until you handle your division first. As we all know, the Green Bay Packers finished second behind us in the division last year. Then you had Minnesota. Then you had the Chicago Bears bringing up the rear, who had the number one overall pick to Caleb Williams. We'll get into Caleb Williams in a second, as well as the Green Bay Packers. But let's get into the Minnesota Vikings first. This is a football team who, man, they can't seem to catch a break. I'm gonna
Mhm.
put it plain and simple. I don't feel bad for divisional opponents, but when I look at
Yeah.
Minnesota, the injury issues they had, you looking at Lewis Seen, they
Yeah.
drafted him in the first round 2 years ago. He had a horrible injury that sidelined him for his first couple years in the league. You're looking at what happened to the cornerback out of Oregon, Jackson, who died in the car accident early over the summer. You're
Yeah.
looking at JJ McCarthy. JJ was showing tons of promise. Then he ended up with a leg injury. He's out for the season. And those are just like the main stories for the
Yeah.
Minnesota Vikings. There's some other guys on there that we haven't touched on yet. I'm pretty sure you and I are going to touch on those players throughout this segment. But also Jordan Addison.
Hmm.
Addison,
Beast.
two run-ins with the law. His first two off seasons in the league. So Minnesota got a ton of bad juju going on over there. But overall, man, I think you're talking about Sam Darnold being the starting quarterback at the moment. If you're
Yeah.
asking me, do I think Sam Darnold is going to be the starting quarterback for them all season? I seriously doubt it. But in general, right now, and I'm gonna get into uh the depth chart for that
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts on Minnesota? I mean, nobody really thinks they're going to be contenders in the division, let alone the playoffs or whatnot.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts on Minnesota right now?
Yeah. Good question. I think I think they got the right guy at coach. I do. I think that Kevin O'Connell is a damn good coach, offensive mind, good with former quarterback himself. Very good. Orchestrator. What's up, Trey? Orchestrator in offensive. Firepower. I do believe they got a conundrum this year, man. It sucks to be Minnesota, to be honest with you, man. Like you said, because I like the decision. I mean, I don't know. I think they was saying that Sam Darnold was probably going to start anyway, even whether if McCarthy got hurt or not. Which I think that's a bunch of bull. You know what I'm saying? I think McCarthy was clearly trending up. I mean, I'm not going to say he was like clear cut the favorite, but he in my opinion, if I was running a team, I would have just named him the starter after what I saw in the preseason before he got hurt. But yeah, man, I mean, you got all of the makings. I see Justin Jefferson. It's gonna be like more like Devontae Adams was last year with the Raiders, man. I could see him being pissed off on the sideline, upset. You know what I'm saying? They can't get him the ball, that type of thing. And listen, him and Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison is a magician, man, with his footwork. You know how I feel about him. I really like Jordan Addison. I think they got two damn good receivers, but it's gonna be tough, man. It's an uphill battle for this team. And then you sign Aaron Jones at running back, kind of to replace what they had last year. Man, they lost Madison as well. Ty Chandler. Now Ty Chandler is another guy that played well. He played well against the Lions. I think in that Christmas Eve game, the Lions clinched the division. He did play well. But when you got Nick Mullins on the sideline, they had last year. They had Jaron Reed as well. For a kid from BYU, Jaron Hall. I'm sorry, I said Jaron Reed. Jaron Hall. They got talent a little bit on defense. Me and you was talking in the pre-show. They kind of long in the tooth on defense. I think it's going to be a long year for Minnesota, man. You know what I'm saying? I like Ivan Pace Jr. They got some pieces. Harrison Smith kind of on the downside. I think his career. Josh Metellus from Michigan. We know him here. He played absolutely. He played good enough to warrant a look. You know what I'm saying? To kind of know he's there, but he's like not nothing special himself. Um, Byron Murphy Jr. Is a guy from Arizona, another guy that's been kind of bounced around a little bit. Has also been, another guy that you know that they added. I'm not. This is not really a good football team, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially defensively, just looking at it, I think offensively, they're built to score points. But I think if you can outlast them and hold them to 20, 21 points, I think it'll be an easy win with this team this year. I mean, like I said, it's too bad JJ McCarthy went down. So, um, if we keep this park going, and you think about how far listen, let's be honest, as Lions fans, Minnesota's kind of dominated this division. There's been really them and the Packers, and I think occasionally, I think the Bears won it a couple times as well, this division. But Minnesota's probably had their way, the last couple years, with the Lions at least. They've always had, they've always played good against the Lions. So I think now it's only right that the Lions can kind of feast on them while they're kind of going through it right now. But I can see a very frustrating season for Justin Jefferson. It's hard. I hate to see that because Justin Jefferson can play, man. He's one of the exciting players. I said my son, that's his favorite player. So I'd like to see him do well, but like I said, I think it's going to be a long year for the Vikings as a whole in the division. If we switch it up and you talk about the Bears right now. Bears is another team that, listen, they did some damn good moves during the offseason. First of all, drafting Caleb Williams. Like I said, say what you want about Caleb Williams. You don't like him, you don't, whatever. But the kid can play, man. You know what I'm saying? You can see it's evident that he can play ball, and I'm kind of that he's the one guy actually, other than the Lions game, I'm really looking forward to seeing. Well, all these guys. I mean, we football fans in general, but I kind of want to see how they looking in Chicago, man. I think they play Tennessee, the first game of the season, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens with the Bears, man. You know what I mean? Because the Bears constantly, my man Wall, he back now. I see technical difficulties, but I was trying to hold it down for you. I'm sweating bullets over here. I'm like Sean Hill. I'm backing up. Struggling over here. But yeah, I think your mic is out because I can't hear you. But we talk about the Bears the last couple years, and they've been kind of like a joke offensively, especially with Justin Fields, and they haven't seemed to never find the right combination around them, and they never. I wouldn't even say that. It just seemed like they flat out just didn't support Justin Fields for whatever reason and didn't give him what he need. But now that theory don't seem real at all either because Justin Fields didn't even start against, not even getting a starting job with the Packers. So this is a very formidable team. I mean, not saying that I don't think they're better than the Lions, but I'm gonna tell you this. No, I agree. I don't think that they're a team that, listen, they beat us last year with Justin Fields. You know what I'm saying? And they should have beat us twice, to be honest with you. If you look at the Bears, right, Walt? I mean, this,
Man, I listen. I don't. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I try not to make too big of a deal about those divisional games because there's a lot that goes. At least there's a lot that can be said about a coaching staff, um, opposing teams being familiar with you because they play you twice a year. Depending on how the playoff seedings fall into place, you might see a divisional opponent 3 times in 1 year. The Bears just have our number. The Bears beat us, especially at Soldier Field. You and I talked
Yeah,
about
horrible.
all the time about how much bad luck Stafford had at Soldier Field when he was here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. And you just go off their roster, man. DJ Moore, was a handful last year. You know, you got you Roma Dunze. I think we both can agree. I mean, that was an upgrade. You know, you bring in Keenan Allen. I think that you know, the offensive line is a big question mark though. I mean, other than Darnell Wright is a player, we both agree that he's a player. Braxton Jones played decent last year. But the other guys, Nate Davis coming over from Tennessee, Tevin Jenkins. I mean, I think, like you said in the pre-show, I think that's where our team is going to eat against them, because I think our, like you said, our defensive line with Reeder, Aleem McNeil, Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, Josh Pascal. I think those guys right there can maybe bully ball them guys a little bit around. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? DeAndre Swift is another guy. Khalil Herbert at running back as well. They also got Rashawn Johnson, who I like, that played with Bijan Robinson at Texas. I mean, this is a Cole Kmet at tight end. Everybody keeps forgetting about him, and Gerald Everett. Remember, Gerald Everett played with the Chargers last year.
Yeah.
So they've done everything right, trying to get Caleb Williams the right tools while around him. You know what I'm saying, to make it successful. You know what I mean, for him to make it easier for him to grasp the playbook. He's got a good feel for the game. It just, for me, I want to see him in late game situations. You know what I'm saying? Maybe in a 2-minute drill. Maybe it might be, you know, you could play maybe up tempo and force him to maybe make some bad decisions or something like that. You know, try to force him to throw a ball in a tight window or something like that. So, and then just real quick, you go defensively. You know, Montez Sweat. Remember, they got him last year in a trade with Washington. He turned out to be a keeper. Seemed like he wants to be there. You know what I'm saying? You also got a guy they drafted, Austin Booker from Kansas. Jack Sanborn. Yep. Jack Sanborn from at linebacker. He was there last year. Tremaine Edwards, TJ Edwards. They got them two guys signed at free agents, but I don't know. I think that Kyler Gordon, I think me and you agree, this guy's a real deal. I mean, he almost decapitated. I can't think of the kid's name from Cincinnati in a preseason game. He ready to go. Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Jalen Johnson. They got a good secondary, man. This Chicago team, I'm excited to see it. To be honest with you, I want to see how it plays out. I think they're better than the Lions? No, I don't. I think that when it comes down to it, I think we can line up and beat that team, but they are going to be formidable. I can tell you that. Like you said, the games in Chicago ain't going to be no joke. Matter of fact, when is I'm gonna look, if you want to take it away for a minute. I want to see when are we gonna play the Bears in Chicago. I wonder, is it late in the season? Because like you said, that's a factor, man, because we never play well in Chicago ever. You know what I'm saying? It just
Yeah, even when we happen to win in Chicago, it always seems to be some last second field goal or a turnover or something like that. But I got a different take on the Bears. I'm not as down on that roster. We try to be as unbiased, even though we're hardcore Lions fans through and through. I think you and I, Trill, we still try to be as unbiased as we can in evaluating our divisional opponents as well as everybody else in the NFL. When I look at the Bears, I was one of those few people that felt last year that team had done a pretty good job slowly building that defense and the identity of what they wanted it to be. If you go back and you look at the Bears, you mentioned Montez Sweat. A lot of fans around here either didn't want Montez Sweat via trade deadline or did want him. Either way, the Bears went and got him. Some people around here felt like the Bears overpaid for Montez Sweat. I thought that was ridiculous. I just felt like Lions fans need to get out of their feelings when it comes to spending money that's not theirs. The Bears felt like they were where we were at 2 years ago. So if the Bears felt like getting a guy like Montez Sweat made sense for them, why the hell wouldn't it make sense for the Lions? I don't know. But that's just another issue, another big issue I had with Lions fans going back to last season about not wanting Montez Sweat. Anyway, you look at Andrew Billingsley at defensive tackle. They invested 2 picks in last was it last? No, it was the year before. In Zach Pickens of South Carolina, nose tackle, Javon Dexter, nose tackle from Florida. They made sure they doubled down on the nose tackle position to at least get one of those guys right. I think both of those guys are pretty decent players. You mentioned Austin Booker at edge rusher from Kansas. TJ Edwards, a guy from free agency they brought in a year ago, played well for them. They also had Noah Sewell, another guy. It's interesting. Lions fans wanted Noah Sewell but didn't want Montez Sweat. It's funny. But you mentioned Tremaine Edmonds, Jack Sanborn, the linebacker from Wisconsin, I believe, or either Wisconsin or Nebraska. Jaquan Brisker, hell of a safety out of Penn State. Kevin Byard. I don't know much about Kevin Byard at this stage in his career. Once Kevin left Tennessee, he started.
Philly.
Yeah, he started. Philly thought they was getting the missing piece for their secondary, and it didn't help them out a damn bit. But Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson is a guy who's brought in as a safety out of University of Miami. They moved him to corner. Seems to be working out for him. Jalen Johnson. So as you mentioned, I like what they have defensively, especially at the youth spot.
Yeah.
If you compare them to Green Bay, which is something we're going to do in a few minutes, I think they're actually better off than Green Bay because I think the big names in Green Bay are getting a little longer in the tooth. But then if you go over to the offensive side of the ball with the Bears, DJ Moore is a keeper for them for at least another 3 or 4 years, more than likely. Tevin Jenkins, I actually think he's going to be a hell of a player as long as he's healthy for them. They moved him off a tackle coming out of college over to left guard. Darnell Wright is a guy that you and I both wanted the Lions to take a long, hard look at in the first round last year. Cole Kmet, tight end, as you mentioned. Keenan Allen. I think more than anything else with Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, I believe, was a guy that was brought there to help out the evolution of Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze is a guy that a lot of people felt coming out of college would not be able to play on the perimeter. They viewed him as more of a big slot, which is what Keenan Allen was his entire career with the Chargers. He was a big slot receiver. So Keenan Allen, that's neither here nor there. Keenan may not even be there in 2025. But overall, I think Caleb Williams inherited pretty much the same damn team Justin Fields had. And when you look at Caleb in preseason, you can tell the difference. Like him and Justin are around the same height, same weight or whatever. He's better than Justin Fields. And I was a big Justin Fields fan coming out of Ohio State, but it's obvious, even at USC, comparing those two guys coming out of college, Caleb is so much further along just naturally as a quarterback, playing the quarterback position. And we're still seeing Justin struggle in Pittsburgh right now. Yeah. And we've said forever, the quarterback makes the difference. You can take one roster, one quarterback can look terrible with that roster. The next guy comes in and team looks completely different. We mentioned Davis Mills in Houston.
Yeah.
What are you growling at, man? My dog over here growling at something over there on the floor, probably a sock. Anyway, man, yeah, it's funny the difference the quarterback makes, and I think Caleb Williams is going to make a huge difference for the Chicago Bears. But before we get to the Packers, you covered Minnesota. I want to touch on Minnesota also for a second. I don't think we're going to hear a peep out of Justin Jefferson this season.
Oh, you don't think so?
He got paid.
Hey,
I mean,
Devontae Adams did too, though, didn't he?
I think it was Devontae's situation was a little different. Devontae got hoodwinked a little bit. He went to a situation he thought he was going back home to play with his homeboy and Derek Carr. Then they ended up booting Derek Carr while he was still there, gave him the money. So now I think he feels like he's kind of being held ransom. Justin, on the other hand, Justin got the bag from the team that drafted him. So can Justin really complain? I mean, you knew what the situation was set up as before you even signed your name on the dotted line. You wanted the bread. So let's say JJ didn't get hurt and JJ would have been the starting quarterback this year, you signed the contract knowing you was going into this season playing with a rookie. Now you got Sam. or Nick Mullins or Brett Rippon for that matter. So no, I don't think Justin's in position really to complain, man. But man, they brought in Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler. We had Ty Chandler. I know Lions fans remember Ty Chandler from a couple years ago in the practice squad here. Jalen Naylor, I think Jalen Naylor is a baller. Jordan Addison is a baller as long as he can keep his nose clean. Christian Darrisaw is one of the best young left tackles in football.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they do have that. Now, if you look at the rest of that offensive line, that's a beat up, older offensive line. You go to the defensive side of the ball, Patrick Jones, outside linebacker, big time sack artist coming out of Pitt 2 years ago, it was 3 years ago. He was in the Trevor Lawrence draft, matter of fact. Harrison Phillips, defensive lineman, he's getting a little older. Jerry Tillery. So it's like,
yeah,
they did invest the other first round pick in Dallas Turner. Now, I do think Dallas Turner has the potential to be defensive rookie of the year. I really do like Dallas Turner.
mm-hmm.
But if you look at the rest of that defense, Stephon Gilmore getting up in age, Byron Murphy Jr. like him, Shaq Griffin is another guy they brought over. Harrison Smith, man. Harrison Smith seemed like he'd been there.
You've been there forever, man.
Yeah, forever. Hell of a
He's
player,
playing
though.
with Steve Atwater was playing, it seemed like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But one thing I will say about Minnesota, we laugh and joke about the Vikings, man. One thing's for sure. The Vikings don't know when to quit. They got a lot of pride in that organization. Look at last season. Everybody thought it was a wrap when Kirk Cousins got hurt. Before Kirk got hurt, they was losing. Kirk was throwing for 340, 380, 3 touchdowns or whatnot, but they were still losing. When Kirk got hurt, everybody thought it was over for them. Wash your hands of this. Getting to the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. What did they do? Kept on winning. They was plugging guys in. It was winning off and on. They brought Josh Dobbs in from Arizona. Didn't Josh Dobbs win like his first 2 starts? First 3 starts? Yeah, so
after coming from Arizona.
I think the Vikings got too much pride as an organization to just fold. So do I think they're gonna be a 3-win team next season? The roster says they should, probably, even with Justin Jefferson being there, but it's like I just feel really bad for JJ because I think JJ was trending up. He was looking real good in preseason. He had his moments in preseason where he looked like a rookie. But for a guy who didn't have a ton of experience in college at Michigan, as far as running the offense, throwing the football, moving the football around, diagnosing defenses, doing all the pro things that a lot of people held against him coming out in the draft, for him to have his development slowed like this is similar to Jameson Williams. We talked about Jameson. To have your development slowed like that, especially as a quarterback, is rough. But that's all I had to really say about Minnesota.
No, you're right. I just want to add one thing about the Bears. It's gonna before we get to the Packers. It's gonna tell the story that they schedule, Walt. Starting November 17th to end the season, Walt. This is the Bears schedule: home against the Packers, home against the Vikings, Thanksgiving against the Lions, at San Francisco, December 8th. They are in Minnesota, the 16th of December. The Lions go to Chicago, December 22nd. They're home against the Seattle Seahawks, last game against the Packers. So that's going to tell that stretch of 7 games right there going to tell the story for the Bears, man. You know what I'm saying? Caleb Williams can go get through that. You know, then they're playing some cold weather games. You know, you got to go to 49ers. You know, you're going to play at Minnesota, going to be a raucous environment. You know, we play against them on the 22nd. So we gonna learn a lot. He's gonna learn a lot. You know what I'm saying? I think the best thing for me is to play a young quarterback in a situation where if he's got the talent around him, I like the trial by fire type thing. If he's got the team. Now I think that a guy like I'm just like Will Levis. Like Will Levis was kind of like he didn't play at first, and then he kind of played at the end of the season. I think Tennessee did it right with Will Levis. You know what I'm saying? And now he's ready to play. You know what I'm saying? So,
man, I think Levis stinks.
You ain't never
I'm a cool guy.
I'm putting it on record. Tennessee might make the playoffs, bro. They might make it. I'm just telling you that's my squad, man.
Man, listen. With him as the quarterback last season, they averaged the same amount of points. I think they averaged like 15 points or 16 points per game with him as the quarterback. That was the same exact amount of points Kentucky averaged with him as they starting quarterback. The
Yeah, man.
previous 2 years at Kentucky, I seen too much bad Will Levis. I mean, I understand the boy jacked. He got arms like nobody's business. He looks like he should be on the cover of Men's Health Weekly at the end of the day. But when I look at it for what it is, man. The further you ask that man to throw the football from the line of scrimmage, the worse he is.
We'll see. I mean,
Those are numbers that you can't ignore, man. Like 0 to 10 yards, he's fine. And it's
yeah,
like after 10 yards, I posted because I did a video on him over the offseason, and I
yeah.
was looking at his PFF numbers. Past 10 yards, his completion percentage continued to dip like 5 to 10% the further he went downfield. Whenever they asked him to throw the ball 20 plus yards downfield, hell with it. You talking about like completion percentage was like 33% or something. I don't trust Levis at all. He got a big arm. I
I don't
understand
believe
that.
that, man. Don't,
It's
don't,
the
man.
truth.
Man, don't do that, man. Don't say that about
Man, he
him.
ain't
But
listen.
hey, because he
Listen.
got more. I'm telling you, he got more rounded than Bryce Young do. And you love Bryce. You love you some Bryce
Oh no,
Young.
no, he's got. Oh no, well,
I
okay, you're
do.
right. Put
Calvin
Bryce Young on
Ridley.
that Tennessee team.
Shit. Hey, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins. They got Tajay Spears at running back. Tony Pollard. They got something going on in Tennessee, man. I ain't saying they listen. It could be wild all you can think it's wild
No,
all you want,
I
but I'm
like
just
Tennessee. I
saying
like the moves they
Tennessee
made.
get
I just don't
Tennessee.
believe in him.
Let's just watch. Let's just watch and see. That's all I'm saying. I just think Will Levis can play. That's all. That's just what I think. But we can hit Green Bay because we only got a couple minutes. Walt, the Packers is just listen. This is a team that's gonna be our nemesis. I think it's gonna be a good rivalry. I think the Lions need. Remember like the Pistons had the Pacers, Knicks and the Heat. I think that now in the NFL we kind of need that rival. You know what I'm saying? We don't have one really because we haven't been good, but
That ain't
now
San
I think
Francisco.
yeah, I
It
think
might become them.
Yeah, and I think the Cowboys, to an extent, a little bit, the Cowboys, because we kind of play them every year in Dallas for some reason. But yeah, Packers, I'm all in with this rivalry, man. I think Green Bay is right there. They right there with the Lions, man. If you look at their roster, I just hit real quick. I'll just hit uh what I was gonna say. Oh, Jaden Reed at receiver. Oh man, Romeo Dobbs. Oh man, Kristen Watts. He can't catch though. He's fast as hell. But what's the Luke Musgrave at tight end? They got Jacobs who can't stay healthy either, just like Aaron Jones. They offensive line is like not the greatest. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's going to be the deciding factor. I think when they line up and play the Lions, I think that I don't know if the offensive line can hand if our see that's where our guys got to be able to get a pass rush. They got to be able to make Jordan Love feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because if he does, it's gonna be like Thanksgiving was just masterful. How Green Bay was so prepared. I like Matt LaFleur as a coach. I think he's one hell of. He may be the best coach in the division. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, the way he game plans offensively and has his team ready to play up. Remember, they did damage against the Cowboys. They sent their ass home packing. You know what I'm saying? They beat the Lions the same way. Damn near beat the 49ers. Packers dangerous, man. Period. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking they still had Darnell Savage in the back end. They they drafted the kid Oladipo from Oregon State at safety. They got Evan Williams from Oregon at safety. Jair Alexander. I think me and you kind of agree on him. Is maybe getting long in the tooth with Eric Stokes. I mean that combination. Okay, if you want to sell me, I, that they still good. I do believe Jair Alexander is something there. You know what I'm saying? But I think the Lions can score on this team. But the defensive line, offensive line, that matchup is going to be key. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Devontae Wyatt guy. They got They drafted Edgerrin Cooper, guy that I wanted from Texas A&M. I wanted the Lions to draft them at linebacker. They got Rashawn Gary. I mean, they loaded. They just like the Lions. You could go. They probably two or three people deep in every position. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got, man.
Yeah. I mentioned it in the pre-show. I think maybe I oversell Green Bay a little bit too much. I mean, they got some young players that do like. I think Quay Walker, his first 3 years in the league, Quay Walker's been inconsistent at best. Christian Watson can run but can't catch. Romeo Dobbs, as long as Romeo Dobbs is healthy, he's probably their best wide receiver overall. Um, you're looking at the offensive line, Rasheed Walker, Josh Myers is a decent player at center. Jordan Morgan, fifth year senior coming out of Arizona. He's the backup right guard. Elton Jenkins, that offensive line it leaves a lot to be desired. So I do think our defensive line, our front seven, should this year be able to have their way with them. You look at the tight end position, they did draft two tight ends last year, Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. Both of those dudes are like 6'6", I think. 6'5", six
Yeah,
six.
yeah.
Jaden Reed is a baller. We
Mhm.
talked about Jaden Reed earlier with Jaden Naylor. Those Michigan State wide receivers tend to get to the NFL and make a bigger difference than a lot of the Michigan wide receivers. Bo Melton, Max Melton's older brother out of Rutgers. He's a hell of
Yeah,
a player
yeah.
if he gets the opportunity. And it's funny we mentioned the Tennessee Titans because they do have Malik Willis over there at backup quarterback now
Oh hell no.
for Jordan Love. Yeah, but Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd out of USC, he was a hell of a running back. Could have been the first running back off the board if you ask some people around the NFL. I just look at that offense and I say, you know what? If they get elite play from Jordan Love, they'll be damn tough. But if they get another up and down season from Jordan Love with those guys, I'm not really that impressed with that wide receiver core. I'm not. I'm not impressed with the offensive line either. Considering the fact that it's pretty obvious they want to throw the ball a lot with Jordan Love. They
Mhm.
gave Josh Jacobs the money. They spent not a first round pick, but they invested a higher pick in Marshawn Lloyd. They should, in theory, be a run first team. I just don't see it, not with Jordan Love and that arm talent that he has. And then you look at the defense, Kenny Clark, another guy that's getting old, getting a little long in the tooth. Kenny Clark was probably 3 years ago one of the top four nose tackles in the entire football league.
Yeah.
He's kind of fell off. Devontae Wyatt has been another disappointment overall for them. Another Georgia disappointment for that matter. Carl Brooks is a hell of a player though. Out of
That's my
Bowling
man
Green, I
from
think Carl
Bowling Green.
Brooks.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Carl Brooks is gonna be a hell of a player. Rashawn Gary is interesting
Man, he
because
told.
yeah, like listen, before Rashawn got hurt 2 years ago, Rashawn was looking like maybe defensive player of the year. He was their best defensive player, period, before he got hurt. And he got hurt, and now things are kind of up in the air on what Rashawn Gary's gonna be moving forward. But I just think, man, even outside, even the safeties, Xavier McKinney, they brought him over, Javon Bullard. This is a team now that I look at the roster, because this is still one of the youngest rosters in football, if I'm not mistaken. Again, we are
Yeah.
still, I think, 2 or 3 steps ahead of Green Bay. I still think we are. I do believe they're talented, and we give Green Bay the respect because Green Bay's been a thorn in our side forever. But we're still better than this team, and I feel like we should be better than this team. We've got more experience to this team. I don't care about what experience the coach has or the overall aura and the allure of Lambeau Field and Green Bay and this and that. To me, all that stuff is in the past. If we're looking at this Green Bay team right now, Jordan Love still kind of inconsistent. He got his money early, but Jordan Love is still kind of inconsistent. Talented as hell. We got
Mhm.
glimpses of what he can be, but in my estimation, with Green Bay, they need to lean on Josh Jacobs a lot.
That ain't that's not sustainable. I'm just say that he stay hurt. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
And
let's
that
be honest.
offensive line stay hurt too. So it's
Yeah,
like, what do we really expect from Green Bay?
I think of it like this. You know what I'm saying? I agree with you. I think the Lions, when it comes down to it, they are the best team in the division. Period. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe. See, you gotta be careful for saying, for everybody that says, we know the Lions are a good team and everything like that, but we always like discount the team across from them all the time. You know what I'm saying? They think like our players are the only players that's any good. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's a mistake, man. That's to go into it the wrong way. Of course, I think the Lions are a better team. You know what I'm saying? But it's just you gotta make no mistake about it. We seen what happened last year on Thanksgiving. We seen it. You know what I'm saying? So you can't discount it and say, "Oh well, no, well the Lions they still gonna beat them." Well, base that on what? Because the game I seen, they got handled. Now I did see the Lions handle them on week 5 or 6 or whatever it was last year on Thursday night. That game when they played Green Bay in Lambeau, that game was over, bro. That game at halftime, I remember that game was over. Lions was up 3 touchdowns. So yeah, I mean, and then the oral with Lambeau Field, that's a myth, anyways. You know what I'm saying? I think Michael Vick put that
Yeah.
to bed. He beat that team on that field. The Lions beat them, put them out the playoff. I don't think Lambeau Field has no bearing on anything. You know what I'm saying? That mystique of all
San
that stuff.
Francisco went there and beat them in the
Yeah,
playoffs in the snow.
I don't think that's all. That was all that Brett Favre, all that stuff. The media was hyping up on that team, but them years. But yeah, I mean, our division as a whole, Walt, I think it is. I'm very disappointed, like you said, for the JJ McCarthy factor because I kind of wanted, even though I know the end result. You know what I'm saying? We both sitting here saying, okay, the Lions are still gonna win the division anyway. It didn't matter. You still want to be able to have your division. Like I think the NFC North is one of the best divisions in football. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know now. I think the Vikings might be knock a peg down. Or everything you say, hey, if I believe anything anybody say on football, I will listen to Wall Stringer. And if you telling me, hey, Green Bay long in the tooth in some areas. Now you got my attention.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? You got my
I'm gonna ask
eyebrows
you
raised.
this. I'm gonna ask you this, and this question goes out to everybody watching right now. Who's better next year in 2025, Green Bay or Chicago? Because I listen, when I look at Chicago, I think Caleb Williams is better than Jordan Love. I think over the long run, he's going to be better than Jordan Love. I like what the Bears' foundation has been over the last 2 years, draft wise, as far as the offensive line and the defensive line, the safety play. They got a few corners over there. Personally, I like what Chicago has built better. Now, if we talking about Eberflus, that's neither here nor there. But we've seen it in the past. A damn good quarterback and a good roster can make an average to below average head coach look pretty damn good. But I
Mhm.
think this is just me. I think the Bears are trending up more so than Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see it. I mean, I want to see. Wow, hey, Fidel, that's a good take. Yeah,
Man,
that
get out
that,
of here for
that would be crazy.
go.
They see him as the head coach.
While
You know
listen, Fidel, while you talking, our OC might be the head coach of your team next year.
what I'm saying? Be out in Vegas. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't know. Let me see this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say Chicago set up this year. They set up, you know what I'm saying, big time. But like you say, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, I mean, have those guys have played a full season? You know what I'm saying? I mean, DeAndre Swift, I haven't seen him play a full season. So I mean, I don't
I
know
don't
if they're
really count
set up.
him like that.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I
Philly
don't know. I
rented
beg
him. So
I beg to differ. I think that right, if you had to ask me 2025, I think Green Bay is better than Chicago, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But it's gonna be fun to watch. You know what I mean? It's gonna be fun to watch. It just really is, because when you get down to, these games and the time of year you're gonna be playing, I think that That's significant. You know what I'm saying? Can Caleb Williams be a cold weather quarterback? I mean, he's Southern Cowboy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he played at Oklahoma too as well. But it's just a lot of questions. That's all.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to go out there and play, man.
I think he's just set up a lot better. Even if you look at his skill position group, Keenan Allen, he may be there for 1 year, may be there for 2 years. We really don't know, but that's still a veteran in the room. DJ Moore is a veteran in the room. DJ Moore is still a really good wide receiver too. I just, if you look at what he has in Chicago, I think the Bears organization did a good job of insulating him better than they did with Justin Fields. Justin Fields walked into a situation where the head coach didn't want him. It was up in the air if the organization overall wanted him at that point in time. I think that first start he had against the Cleveland Browns, his rookie year, shell shocked him and destroyed him, where he was sacked 8 times. I think he got sacked 8 times in that game against the Browns. Things just went as worse as you could think things could go for a rookie quarterback, or a young quarterback for that matter, for Justin Fields. It all went wrong for him in Chicago. But like I said, I do think Caleb's a better player. Um, Even though Jordan Love has proven more in the league than Caleb has proven, of course, because Caleb's a rookie, hasn't played one start yet in the NFL. I'm banking on Caleb Williams being better than Jordan Love over the long haul. Um, like I said, the wide receiver group, I think his group of wide receivers are better. I like Odunze better than Christian Watson. I like Odunze better than Dobbs. I like Odunze better than all of those guys he had over there. DJ Moore is better than everybody that Jordan Love has at the wide receiver position over there. Cole Kmet is a veteran. We still don't know about Tucker Kraft and those other guys, Musgrave at the tight end position.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, Green Bay's offensive line is terrible. At least on paper, it's terrible. Now, can they be better this season? We don't know. It's possible.
Yeah, but I got way more confidence, way more in Green Bay management, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, obvious. Caleb Williams. That's why I was even saying the Lions better get what they got coming to them this year or next year, because I think when Caleb Williams figures it out, it'll be something different.
It's obvious. You ain't got to even explain that, bro.
Yeah,
it's obvious. I think unless you're just a Lions fan that's biased against anything Chicago or Minnesota, they could have drafted Andrew Luck and people would have said, "Oh, that Luck guy's trash," simply because he a Bear. And I think if you being unbiased about it, even when you go back to USC, the guy threw 5 picks. We making a big deal about a guy throwing 5 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
In contrast to 30-something, I think they had 36, 37 touchdown passes. Yeah. His offensive line at USC was putrid. They couldn't run the ball at USC. Putrid. And that's with Marshawn Lloyd. You look at the receivers he had. Most of those receivers, if they didn't leave via transfer portal, they left school, period. Like, none of those dudes he was throwing the ball to even got drafted, if I'm not even mistaken. And then look how bad Caleb Williams' defense was at USC. Dude was getting in the 44 to 40 shootouts every week. But when you lack context in that situation, people look at it and just say, "Oh, well, I just don't like Caleb Williams. I don't think he's going to be good. I don't like the way he wants to do this. He wants to be a businessman first and all the other stuff. And he paints his nails. And I don't like his voice." And like, it seems to me the issues people have with Caleb Williams don't have shit to do with football. And it seemed to be more so of a nitpicking thing. I don't care what the dude do. We talked about Myles Garrett last year. When Myles Garrett came out of Texas A&M, what was people's BS raps on him? Well, I think he's weird. He's in the art. And he's in the anime. He's in the comic books. And like, so you telling me you don't want to do because he's in the comic books? Or he draws?
Well, yeah,
he likes poetry, so he's soft. I mean, it's silly the stuff people come up with to not like players, though.
Yeah, and just to answer the question was 2025. You know what I mean? I'm just looking at it like this. I just don't see next year. I just see like Green Bay, the Lions got to get theirs now. That's all how I'm looking at it. Just for next year. After that, hey, you would think, what I'm saying, that the organization will set them up. I just think they need to draft a little bit better, in my opinion. I think Green Bay drafts better than Chicago. Is a proven fact. You can go up and down the roster. So I think for next year,
As of late,
Green Bay, yes. Look at the roster. Look go, man.
I
You got to look at
I
what's going on. Like, I okay. You signed Keenan Allen. How good is Keenan Allen going to be?
no,
Is he going to be?
I
You know what
get
I'm
that.
saying? I
I
mean,
think I told you. I think Keenan's there for Roma Dunze's development.
yeah. I mean, look at DeAndre Swift. You got to get a real Caleb Williams before he wins a Super Bowl or anything like that. He needs a real running back. You know what I'm saying? Get him a real. Not Khalil
Rashawn
Herbert.
Johnson.
Don't trust. Yeah, I like Rashawn Johnson. Now that's my guy. So what I'm saying is, it just, hey, this is that it's a good question. Good question to kick around. Like I said, that's why I'm not naive to the fact. Hey, Jared Goff, he's gotta be able to uh seize the moment. Him being a veteran, him being knocking on the doorstep a couple times. Jared Goff, this is his time. He has to do it, because I think the next 2 years, it may not be that easy. You know what I'm saying? And the Lions themselves going to be looking for a quarterback. See, people don't think about that. You know what I mean? That's down the line, but we talking about right now. But yeah, so it's a fun conversation. But I think both teams, and that's the competitive nature, I think, of just our division as a whole. Because even if when the Lions, let's just say, I think the Lions are set up good for the future. You know what I'm saying? I think it depends on how you look at it, what side of the ledger you on. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, people who don't like the Lions just think they're not going to be good, or people like you said about Caleb Williams. Or I'm not one of those people to say Jordan Love didn't deserve the contract, or Jordan Love is not very good, or you know what I'm saying? Just people, just whatever their flavor is. They're gonna make it, sway it in their favor, and say that their guy is better, period. But just for me, the outside looking at it, I know what I saw. And I know I saw what Jordan Love can play. I'm not gonna nobody can sway me into saying that he can't play, because I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna
Yeah.
play two high pressure uh playoff games on the road, and not being able to play. That's crazy to even say that. You know what I'm saying? To say, I could see get lucky one time. You ain't get lucky twice, man. Not on the road, not in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I seen the luckiest game I ever seen was Tim Tebow won against, what was that, Pittsburgh, I think it was, and they won in the play. That was the luckiest game I ever
Demarius
seen.
Thomas.
Yeah, that guy, rest his soul, rest in peace to Demarius Thomas. But yeah, it don't happen, not in the NFL, man. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what happens. Yeah, thanks Fidel for chiming in tonight, our guy Fidel. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
So
I was gonna make a point, and I was listening to, but it did slip my mind. Yeah, I just think overall, man, we should. I don't want to get into us. I do want to stay focused on these other teams. I will say this about Detroit, just being unbiased about this, because I think this is something else that a lot of Lions fans have hung their hats on, and they just think sometimes this can be fool's gold. What happens when Brad Holmes misses on the draft? Because even the best GMs in the NFL history have bad drafts. So what happens when the first round pick doesn't pan out? The second round pick doesn't pan out. People are
yeah,
so used to all of his picks working that they think that people who are like that aren't really that in tune with the league like that, or football in general, the
yeah,
nuts and bolts of it, the draft process, free agency, all the injury process, people who aren't that in tune with it, they
yeah,
look at Brad Holmes and they look at his team and they think to themselves, "Oh, this is how it's going to go every year." No, like Brad Holmes is 4 for 4. Well, I'm not even gonna say 4 for 4 because we don't know about this class in particular right here. This
yeah.
class could fail for all we know.
That's true.
But as a GM, how do you bounce back from a bad draft class? Because we've seen some GMs have one bad draft class, and that
Yeah,
shit can kind of set your franchise back a couple years. Now, personally, I don't think this class is going to be bad. Because while you were talking about Green Bay and I was looking at Green Bay's receiving core, I'm like, okay, you know what? We match up a lot better with Green Bay's receivers this year than we did last year when we were just trotting out Jacobs and Vildor and Cameron Sutton.
Yeah.
It's different now.
Yeah.
So we match up a lot better with Green Bay. Green Bay did nothing really to upgrade that. They didn't really do much to upgrade that team, period, I felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, they went
It's
out, they got a
defense.
running back.
They got defense a little, more so defense in the back end. You know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, they in trouble. When they play Lions, I mean, I think Lions, especially Ben Johnson, do a good job at trying to exploit team weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, I think Jameson Williams is going to be able to exploit those newer cover corner, safeties and that, play a little bit different, play action fake type, that play action fake should be hell of a for golf this year. You know what I'm saying? To, Gibbs and, I'm saying Montgomery can sell it. You know what I'm saying? You can really, because if you think about it, you can have a defense off balance, man. If they think, if you're in our zone, let's say we at the 35-yard line and you looking at a 2nd and 1, you could have Gibbs and Montgomery out there and play fake the hell out of it, and you got J-Mo up top for a touchdown, bro. I mean, that's what I see coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, when the inexperienced secondary, the Lions gonna eat them up, man. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not ready for that hard fake, you're in trouble, So.
Yeah. So Trey says the Packers are the biggest threat to the Lions. Jordan Love is that deal. I agree right now, but
Right now.
and you and I discussed this on a previous show. Would I be shocked at all if Caleb Williams played well this season and Chicago finished ahead of Green Bay? I wouldn't be shocked at all because we've seen not just only the number 1 overall pick. We've seen Andrew Luck step right in and pick up a Colts team and help will them to a playoff berth where they ultimately lost to Baltimore in the first round. We saw RG3 do the same exact thing the same exact year. We saw CJ Stroud do it last year. So I don't understand why is it so far-fetched to people that Caleb Williams could step in as the number 1 overall pick in Chicago, ball out, and finish ahead of Green Bay. Because now you're talking about wins and losses within the division.
Mm-hmm.
Should we sweep Minnesota? We probably should sweep Minnesota. Should Green Bay sweep Minnesota? Should Chicago sweep Minnesota? Maybe. I don't know. But when you talk about divisional games, anything can happen. I'm just saying. I think the quarterback makes that big of a difference when you're talking about comparing some of these teams like apples to oranges. If Caleb Williams turns out to really be that deal, is it really that far-fetched that they could finish ahead of Green Bay?
Yeah. Man.
I mean, I just think Green Bay is ahead of the curve right now.
Right now. That's what I'm saying.
But, the right quarterback can step in. The right quarterback can step in and make that big of a difference.
Yeah, could he be CJ Stroud this year? You know what I'm saying? And take that team to play. Actually, like I said, my picks, I got the Bears making the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I do. You know what I mean? I got them squeaking in. I really do. I think the Lions, Packers, and Bears make the playoffs. I think the Bears 9 wins. I got our NFC. I think is going to be a lot. I think it's going to be a slugfest, man. I don't think no one's going to win 14 games and
no, I agree.
Even the Lions. I think the Lions could be the number 1 seed. Maybe the Eagles, you know what I'm saying? Maybe the 49ers, that type of thing. But I think 12 wins does it. 12, 13 wins tops. You know what I'm saying? So I think if you got 9 wins, you in there. You 9 or 10, definitely in there with 10. So let's see. I just feel like teams like Dallas, may take a step back. Not so much. They could make the playoffs. Seattle might take a step back. You know what I'm saying? It just teams like Tampa made it last year. I don't see Tampa making it this year. I got Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. You know what I mean?
You got people that don't respect Atlanta. Like I've talked to Lions fans about Atlanta. Like, listen, I understand we made the NFC Championship last year. We still ain't won shit. And I think some Lions fans talk like we just that far removed from being a bad organization. Like we don't have 2 or 3 Super Bowls under our belts right now. Not too long ago, we were Chicago. Not too long ago, we were the Atlanta Falcons. So like when I hear like a lot of Lions fans just talk extremely arrogant about the rest of the NFC, oh yeah, we got them, and we got them, and we got them. 14 wins, 15 wins. Ain't nobody in the NFL winning no damn 15 games this year. I don't even think we talked about it on Fidel's show a few days ago. I think 13 wins is it. And I'm not even sure if anybody wins 13 games this year. I think the parity in the NFL is too tight right now. Everybody's got talent. Everybody may not have a big time elite quarterback, but even the teams that don't have a big time elite quarterback, they make up for it in some other ways, whether it's a great defensive roster or a great running game, or they got a great technician at offensive coordinator, defense coordinator. These teams are making up for the fact that they don't have an elite quarterback. That's why, like, even as the most hardcore Lion fan, when the schedule came out, there's no way in hell if you're being honest as a Lion fan, there's no way in hell you looked at that schedule and you saw 15 wins. There's no way you looked at that schedule and you saw 14 damn wins. Man, you already know that's just the fan coming out of people. That's just the fan coming out of people. That's that's a very tough schedule. But you and I both agreed. We feel like this team could win 11 games this year, but still be a better team. Hand over what they did last year, because this is just a tougher schedule. But yeah, like I said, I agree. I think in theory right now, considering what we saw from Green Bay a year ago, could Green Bay fall off a cliff? Could Jordan Love come out and lead the league in picks or something like that? It's possible, because they didn't fix the offensive line. They wanted to run the ball well last year, but they couldn't because they never fixed the offensive line. They still got wide receivers out there, Christian Watson, that can't catch a cold.
Yeah.
And then you looking at Romeo Doubs, who's hurt off and on, like Michael Gallup. And then you looking at like Jaden Reed. It's like I don't think Love is as elite right now to just take that core of guys and just turn those guys into Super Bowl contenders. I don't. But I do like Jordan Love. I was one of the rare people that before last season was saying Jordan Love was going to be impressive. Oh, well, you crazy. He's done nothing 4 years in the league. He's not going to be anything. I'm like, just watch. And I predicted it. I'm like, Jordan Love is going to have an up and down season, but they're going to still make the playoffs. And he had an up and down season. They still made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And what happened in that playoff game against Dallas? He showed so many inklings of elite. That's why after that Dallas Cowboy game, what was the media talking about? Is Jordan Love elite? Because the way he performed in that game against Dallas reminded people of Aaron Rodgers. That's why people started asking the question, well, is Jordan Love elite? Can he be elite? And I agree with Trey. I think Jordan Love is ultimately going to be that deal. I just like Caleb better. I do. I think Caleb is going to be the truth, and I think Detroit is going to have some issues to deal with it if Caleb turns out to be the truth.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Jordan Love turned out to be the truth
down the road. Yes,
yeah,
that's what I said. Now you got to get it. Wise is there to be gotten if you're the Lions. You know what I'm saying? Like this year, maybe next year. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's all. I mean, I ain't being negative. I'm just saying that's. We cross that bridge, we get to it as an organization to see what we're going to have to do, you know what I'm saying, to keep up. But the line is this year or next year, is now or never, you know what I'm saying? Because I see, you could see it, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So we get ready for Rams week, Walt, coming up here tomorrow and, next couple days,
we cooking fresh lamb this week. I mean, fresh ram. I don't even know you can cook ram. Can you cook ram? I'm gonna look that up on the news.
Can you taxidermy it? You can make it. Get you a ram, nice ram head with the horn. You know what I'm saying? Mount that bad boy. But yeah, I think this is gonna be a good one, man. You know what I'm saying? You got two veteran quarterbacks coming through again, you know what I'm saying? Different kind of circumstances. Obviously it's not the playoffs like last year, but it's a pretty big game. I mean, it's a big game to the standpoint of it being a Sunday night game. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Oh
obviously,
yeah,
whoever loses the game is not going to be out the playoffs or anything like that. So,
it's gonna mean a lot though.
yeah, down the road, you're right. It could mean,
That
yeah,
tiebreaker could turn
tiebreaker.
out to mean a lot.
Yeah, because I'm just football's back, man. I love the back and forth talking about our guys, man, and and we could just rest assured that come Sunday, come Thursday, Baltimore, Kansas City play. Our Lions is right there. You know what I'm saying, and we can talk about our team being just as elite as the rest of the NFL, basically. You know what I'm saying. In this stage, same spot last year, Lions winning Kansas City and won. You know what I'm saying? And won the game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could say it was 21-20 all you want. I had somebody say that. They only won by 1 point last year. What the hell are you talking about? They only won by 1 point. What is you talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's just like you could never make people happy. You know what I'm saying on some stuff. But yeah, man. So what we doing? We scouting the Rams next show? Is that what we
Oh
doing?
yeah, so we be back tomorrow night. Talk
Yeah.
about the Rams. Go through the injury report for the Rams. Go through the roster. Go through their draft. Go through free agency. Take a quick look at a quick rewind to the 2023 season.
Yeah.
How the Rams season went last year. Um, Made the playoffs. We can go back to that game. Know a lot of people went back and watched that Rams game over again.
I did
Um,
like
we can go
three
back to the
times.
scheme too. Rams offensive scheme, Rams defensive scheme. How can we expose them? How can we expose, not necessarily expose Stafford? Because I do think Stafford's at a point in time in his career, man, where he done seen it all.
He ain't gonna get rattled. No, not
He
like
got a
that. Yeah.
ring. He
Yeah.
done seen it all. He knows what to expect. I don't really expect us to come up with some game plan to throw out there to just shut Stafford down, to get him to throw 4 picks and all this other stuff that some people think is gonna happen. I think it's gonna be a tight game for sure. Um, but without getting too deep into it, that's most of it. Like I said, it's Rams week, so we're gonna break down Stafford and his boys, what we need to do to handle them. Like I said, go through the injury report, go through the roster, go through the free agency, go through the draft or whatnot. Get those listeners out there reacquainted with the Rams and what they are this season.
For sure. Tomorrow night.
For sure. Tomorrow night, want to thank everybody for joining us, going through the
Thanks, Fidel.
NFC
Thanks,
North.
Bobby. Thanks, E. Thanks,
Oh
Trey.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? All our guys, appreciate y'all a lot.
here this man go, Bobby Drake. Have y'all picked how many wins? Man, we discussed this a couple of months ago, man. I think the Lions are a 12-win team. Um, I could see them. I could see the floor being 10 wins. That's the floor. I think the ceiling is 12. I just think that if you look at having a bye after 4 weeks and then having to run off 11 straight games, then you talking about if you don't get the number one seed in the NFC, having to run off another 3 games in the playoffs before you finally reach the Super Bowl and get that 2 week bye, that 1 week bye, that 1 week that's between the conference championships and the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Not that I think the Lions aren't good or they're going to just struggle. I just think that, and I said it before, I don't see anybody winning. I think 13 games, 13 wins is it.
Yeah. I
I
got
just think that with the new 17 game schedule, these buys being the way they are, the NFL scheduling everybody all outrageous. You got the Kansas City Chiefs this season who play every day of the week this week. I mean, this year, except for Wednesday. They got a Monday night. They play Tuesday night. Saturday, they got Sunday. The Chiefs even play a Friday night game. And they
oh
got a
yeah.
Thursday. Yeah.
They
So
play on Christmas Day too, I think.
don't they play Black Friday too? I think.
Yeah, y'all.
Yeah. So
The NBA and NFL both got 4 games on Christmas Day this year.
Yeah,
NFL, that's crazy, man. 8 games. I love it. It's not crazy. I love
yeah.
it, but it's like, man, they getting in the money. Just to answer Bobby Drake question, I got 11, man. And I don't think losing one more game, would say the Lions are our worst team. I think they record might show that they may not have the 12 or 11 wins. I'm gonna say 11 to 12 because I do think they do have to get that number 2 seed at the most, no lower than 3 because we got to get at least one home playoff game. I think we can win anywhere on the road if we have to play there, so I'm not worried about that. But I'm gonna say to answer Bobby Drake question, I'm gonna say 11 is the least. I would say 12. I say 12 to 11, and the swing game for me is I think we're gonna start off 4-0. I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. I think we're gonna start off 4-0. Gonna lose to the Cowboys. Gonna be our first loss. I hate to say it, and then I think we're gonna split with the Packers, and the swing game is gonna be the Texans. Can we go into Houston and win? It's gonna be a Sunday night, November 10th. That's gonna be a huge game. That's a swing game for me. If we win that, I think we win 12. You know what I'm saying? So
All right, man. Well, Bobby Drake, there you have it. I got ceiling 12. The floor for me is 10 for them. Like I said, even 10 wins. I don't think it's because they're a fraudulent team, they're bad or whatever. I just think that you factor in the strength of schedule, the level of competition, the way the schedule is set up, having that bias that early in the season, I think is rough for them also.
yeah.
And then also the kicker position. That's still something. Strangely enough, 4 years into this rebuild, this is still something that hasn't been solved. And if people think gambling is a way to manage a game and you don't need a kicker, that's idiotic. If you go back and you look at the history of the NFL, New England Patriots had Adam Vinatieri. Regardless of how much credit we love to give Tom Brady, or he won all those Super Bowls, BS. If we being honest about it, there were Super Bowls where Brady was looking very pedestrian. There were playoff games where Brady looked very pedestrian. And what happened? Vinatieri saved his ass. Ty Law saved his ass. Asante Samuel saved his ass. Richard Seymour saved his ass. Lawyer Malloy saved his ass.
Malcolm Butler too.
Malcolm Buckler. So it's like when people just throw out there, oh, the quarterback got all these Super Bowls. That's BS, man. Even Peyton Manning, as great as Peyton Manning was in the regular season, Peyton Manning's playoff performances left a lot to be desired, man. Left a lot to be desired. So I just think, man, for fans to feel like the kicker doesn't matter, I think that's goofy.
Yeah.
Every facet of the football team matters. Special teams matters. Defense matters. Offense matters. And what do you do when you run across certain teams in situations where they have a kicker and you don't? Because you're not going to pick up every single fourth down or third and long. So listen, the kicking game matters. I just hope that this is the one thing that doesn't come back to bite us again, because 4 years into a rebuild and still not being able to find a consistent kicker is a little weird. And like I said, it does matter to me. I don't know how much it matters to a lot of the listeners out there or the fans out there, but I still don't feel comfortable about the kicker position.
About what's going on? Yeah. Yeah.
Bobby
Facts.
Drake says, one last comment: I cannot take a loss to the Cowboys again. They need to wheel out Hanson. Jason Hanson probably can still kick. I don't know if he can still make 50-yarders.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this Sunday's game could come down to it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we're gonna need a kicker for the games after that. I don't think we're gonna need one, bro. For let's see.
Oh, we don't
this
need a
Sunday.
kicker.
We're gonna need one Sunday because it might come down to it at the end. I can see a final drive or something like that. Real quick before we get out of here. Man, the schedule ain't coming up, but dude, we ain't gonna need Arizona's a win. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
I don't know. things get kind of wild out there in the desert, man.
Yeah, we never beat
For a lot of
them
teams.
boys. I think they're gonna be. I think Cardinals gonna be much improved too. To be honest with you, Bucks they not gonna need. I think we're gonna run rush shop over them. The Cardinals, Seahawks. That's another game, bro. I know that's your squad and all, but
That's another game fans ain't respecting.
Monday night, Calvin Johnson getting his number retired. September, no way the Lions losing that game, bro. They gonna score 40 on them. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you.
Ooh-wee.
Scoring
I
40
don't
on
know,
them.
man.
And then yeah, like I said, Cowboys, Vikings, Titans after that at the Packers. So yeah, like you said, it do get shaky. Like you said, Walt, I think you can't live another year without a kicker, man. And I hopefully, oh my goodness, it don't come back to bite, because I agree with you on that. I told a buddy of mine the same thing. We kind of agreed, like the kicker is, you gotta have one. You do. You can't. It's asinine to
Indianapolis
think
Colts
that
had
you don't.
Mike Vanderjagt.
Yeah, Mike Vanderjagt. Wasn't he alcoholic, cussing everybody out? Remember he was going off on the media.
Well, I think wasn't that after the whole little Colts run ended or something like that. I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah. Remember he was all like, not that I got anything against drinking, because I don't. You know what I'm saying? But it's like because somebody asked him something about drinking or something, man, like kicking, and sort of like Matt Prater. Like, 'cause Matt Prater was like, he was our guy, man. You know what I'm saying? It was
yeah.
crazy.
I just say, for Lions fans, just look at the history of the league, man.
Mhm.
Every dynasty, every really good team had a kicker that you could tie to it.
Yeah.
That's just how it is, man. Even regardless of how people may feel about Harrison Butker, with the Kansas City Chiefs, Harrison is still money.
Yeah.
He's still money.
He
You can
is,
feel
yeah.
the way you feel about his takes on society or whatnot, but we don't have any history. There's, for people who feel like, okay, Dan Campbell's way of managing the game is going to do it, we don't have any proof of that.
Yeah.
Because we've never seen historically any coach make it through an NFL season or just make it through their entire coach career saying, screw kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Look what happened to your boy down there with the Chargers. He got fired because he felt like screw everything. I'm just gonna go for it. Oh, this is just a video game.
Oh, Staley.
Yeah, that's gambling is not. And I want everybody out there to hear this, because I used to gamble too. Gambling is not a concrete way to make money. Gambling is not a concrete way to win football games. Gambling is not a form of management. Gambling is exactly what it is. It's gambling. You win some, you lose some. There's no strategy in gambling. People think there's strategy in gambling.
You trying to win the big one, though.
But that's the thing. The only time people think there's strategy in gambling is when they up 2,000-3,000. Yeah. I'm winning. I got a system in place. No, you don't. You just go against the grain. That's not the system. Like, I'm all for going for it on fourth down, to the excitement it causes in the arena and everything. But I just want to see. I want to see him manage the game better.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing.
It's all good when it's all good when you make it. You know what I'm saying? And everybody said, great. Now I'm gonna tell you, just bad memory. But the only thing I think Dan can, and even my wife even said something about it last night. She was like, thinking back, Dan should have kicked the field goal against the 49ers. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. But that play, and then remember when we went for it, like against the Cowboy, we went for it 3 times. Remember that play when the Decker reported? Think about that. Everybody think about that. That how crazy that was. How to go for it 3 times. It was crazy.
He mismanaged the game. I'm just saying, like, being honest about it, like, but that's something that we always discuss. What does this player need to do to get better?
Man.
What does that player need to do? What does Goff need to do to get better? Coaches need to get better too. Like, what areas of improvement? Not asking you this, but as a fan, what areas of improvement do we need to see from Dan Campbell? Because we go back to that Dallas Cowboy game. it got the feeling of, and I go back to the gambling. You playing blackjack. You just lost 10 straight hands. People, your wife pulling you off the table. Come on, baby, let's go. No, baby, I got this. I got this. Double down.
Uh,
But Dan, we're down. We're down $3,000. I got this. Double down.
Get out of here. I know what I'm doing.
Bus over.
Yeah.
Dealer take all the cards. It's like no, but no, that Dallas game did feel like
Oh man, it was
he felt
crazy.
like the refs screwed us, everything going. Sometimes the juju in the building is going against you. Just take the damn points.
Yeah. And I felt
Just take 'em.
as a player, as a person watching that, I was pumping my fist. The second time, I'm like, okay, we gonna get
Yeah.
it. You know what I'm saying? But after, wasn't a ridiculous hold? Wasn't it a holding penalty or something? I watched it 3 times. I think it was a holding penalty, and then put us back at like the 9-yard line or something like crazy.
Yeah.
And we still tried to go for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was the time you should have kicked.
To me, it felt like ego with him then. Like,
yeah, I felt what Dan was doing. He like, no, damn it, we about to get
y'all
it.
trying to screw us? I won't let y'all screw us. Go for it again. And it's like, no, Dan.
You know, Dan wanted to kill somebody. I get it, but you know what I'm saying.
What if this was the Super Bowl, Dan? Like, what if we going against Andy Reid? Are you gonna let Andy out coach you?
Yeah, Big
You
Red.
gonna let Andy outsmart you? Like, that's
oh man.
I'll be worried about that. That's pretty much the only real worry I got about this team, other than the wide receiver position. And we're gonna talk about somebody this Saturday that some Lions fans may not like.
Yeah.
But outside of the kicker position, outside of the wide receiver position, I do think that kicker is the one situation that does kind of leave me a little bit uneasy with this team. So
yeah, and Bobby Drake, his comment, he's right. The analytics do push the code, and I think there's more analytics that go into it. Because now I like that stat. They put it up as soon as 4th down come. Now they put it on the screen. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. If you in the middle of the field, that don't bother me to go for it in them situations. It doesn't. But I think the late game situations, it's hard. You got to have a feel for it. And then I think a lot of it is he didn't trust the kicking game. You know what I'm saying? So, and we in that position again this year because Jake Bates, you
don't know.
We in that position again. So let's see.
Yeah. All right, man. That'll wrap things up.
Yeah.
We'll be back for y'all tomorrow night to talk Rams.
Yeah.
If anybody knows if you can cook and eat ram, I've never I'm being real about it. I never heard about anybody killing a ram and cooking it.
I'll ask my wife uncles. We had a good conversation about wild game. I'm gonna ask them tomorrow. Then I'm gonna tell you if
it might
you can
be
do
illegal
it
to kill them and cook them. No, seriously.
Yeah.
I think they might be almost extinct. That's like running across a bison and killing it, or an ox or something. But oxes are pretty much extinct too. Did you know them oxtails in the store not even really oxtail? They're just cow tails.
Don't tell me that, man. Come on, man. I'm out of here. I'm mad now.
Old head was telling me that the other day. I don't know how true it is, man. The old head was telling me that the oxtails you buy in the store today not really oxtails. They cow tails. So.
They cow tail.
Yeah, I don't know how true it is, man. Look at Fidel. I'm asking Fidel, can you cook a ram? Can you kill a ram and cook it?
So, you right, dude. That's a lot of work. You gotta. First of all, you gotta outsmart it. Well, you gotta have enough courage to stand in front of it, right? Or sneak. How you gonna sneak up on a ram, right?
All you need is major heat. That's all you need is major heat.
Like a damn blowtorch or something.
if that's what you want to call it, blowtorch, a toolie, a pistol, a shotgun,
a bayonet,
a equalizer, whatever you want to call it, the score settler. Oh man, boy, I enjoy talking to y'all, man. So yeah, let's go ahead and get on up out of here, man. So like I said, make sure everybody join us tomorrow night. We will be breaking down the Los Angeles Rams and what advantages our team has over them. What does it take to beat the Rams? We got one more comment right now. Maybe this person know about killing the Ram. Fidel says this shit went from podcast to Animal Planet. I don't know, man. We was talking about beating the Rams, then somehow I got on. Is it legal for us to shoot a ram and eat it? I don't know if we can actually kill a ram or not.
Then we'll find out. I'm like I say, I'm gonna ask my uncles, and then have an answer, and then I'm gonna see how if we can do it, how we can cook it, and then how you prepare it, do all that. We're gonna talk about it tomorrow.
We're gonna tailgate. We gotta get it before Sunday night. We're gonna tailgate.
We're gonna make a mess.
I got a nice size ski rack on my roof. I don't know. A ram might be kind of heavy for my roof though.
You gotta season it up, dude. You gotta get the game taste out of it. That's a lot of work in 3-4 days, man. You gotta prepare that thing. Get skin saute.
We gonna put a Rams jersey on it.
Let it hang dry.
Or rotisserie. All right, man. Love y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.